Hi, is this Captain Wagner?
Yes, it is.
Captain, how are you? It's Dave Ibarra.
How are you?
Not too bad. Just returning your call. I actually thought I'd be calling back Sergeant Bancroft. When I saw the 753, he told me he would be getting back to me today.
Okay. Now, I spoke to Sergeant Bancroft. He doesn't work out of this zone.
No, I know that.
He forwarded the information of your concern to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call you back and discuss it with you.
Okay. Well, like I said, I thank you and appreciate it. What is your? I take it that then you're well informed on the incident I was concerned about, right? Other than the actual case, my concern is what the deputies did last night, where they drove off on us. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the video, sir.
Right. Okay. So, if I understand correctly, your concern was that two deputies came to the zone, and when they saw you, you approached them to talk to them, and then they drove away, and you felt that was disrespectful.
Absolutely.
Is that the totality of your complaint and your concern?
As far as it pertains to the incident in question, yes. I have another question I need to ask you, but absolutely. I mean, you pretty much covered it. I mean, per 911 dispatcher 8156, we were instructed to go to the Summit Point station, substation B. We did as we were told. A subsequent call when we sat there for about 15 minutes resulted in the same operator, 8156, telling Mr. Conklin to sit tight and not move, and the deputies were actually on their way. I believe she may have said something about a few minutes, 5 minutes maybe. I'm not sure about that. It was Mr. Conklin next to me that was talking to her. And sure enough, the deputies pulled up. They turned their car off. We approached them. I mean, I don't want to narrate. Did you see the video? Can I ask you that? I mean, I don't want to go over what the video shows.
So I understand. I believe I understand what your concern was. I explained to you what I believe your concern was. And was what I said correct? Your concern was that you felt that they were disrespectful to you by driving away, correct?
To myself, to Mr. Conklin, yes. Did you watch the video, sir? I asked you previously. Did you watch the video?
No, but I'm aware of it.
Okay.
So,
but I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Captain Wagner. If I mean, I don't mind answering your questions, but this is a give and take. Obviously, I also have questions. And yes, I'm sorry not to override what you said. That's pretty much my concern. I mean, you've asked me 2 times, and I can't think of anything else to clarify or change what my concern is. So you're pretty much hitting on the head what my concern is. But if I can ask you briefly, okay, this started with a case that was getting a lot of attention. A case was a very, very questionable arrest in the first place. This is kind of just adding fuel to the fire, so to speak, to be blunt about it. And if I take it correctly, basically Sergeant Bancroft, who you're right, who was very professional and courteous, and last night he actually told me that he worked Zone A, but he was filling in for for a sergeant that was ill at Zone B. But if I follow you correctly, sir, what you're telling me is that as serious as this case is, you haven't watched a video, but yet you're calling me to discuss an incident, which you're right, I do have a concern about. But you're telling me I don't. That doesn't just make rhyme or reason to me. I'm sorry. You haven't watched the video, but you would be calling me twice, 3 times you've called me in the past 30, 40 minutes. You haven't watched the video at all. How does that make any sense, sir?
So what I will address with you, David, is the focus of the complaint that you lodged with Sergeant Bancroft. So I will address that with you first.
Okay. Will you answer my question afterwards? I just feel like you're totally okay. I feel like you're totally just avoiding my question. I don't understand.
We're going to deal with one thing at a time.
Okay.
Okay. The first thing is that you made a complaint to Sergeant Bancroft yesterday.
Yes, sir.
The complaint was that you felt that you were disrespected by the deputies who drove away when you approached them. Is that correct?
You know, it is correct, but with every
I want to address that concern because that's the complaint that I'm calling you with regard to.
Okay.
Okay? So, the answer to that is that the deputies were spoken to, and the reason that they drove away was not to be disrespectful, but they had nothing to offer relative to the purpose that you were at the zone for. And they were also aware that the sergeant had already become aware of the matter, and they had nothing to offer. So that's why they left. They didn't want to be put in the middle of a conversation. They didn't want to be involved in the conversation.
Or video.
That's why they left.
Or video recorded.
I beg your pardon?
Or video recorded.
I still didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Captain. You said that they didn't want to be put in the middle of a situation. I understand. I follow you. And I said, or video recorded.
They had nothing to offer.
I understand this, sir.
And the matter, you were there for a matter that had nothing to do with them. So they were not interested in having a conversation.
Okay, what sergeant was aware of the situation? I'm confused because I believe you're taking things out of context. You said that they were aware that a sergeant was already aware. I take it you're talking about Sergeant Bancroft. Sergeant Bancroft was not called till after they drove away. So how can that be? That doesn't follow a normal. That's out of context. If I understood you correctly, you said, sir, just 5 minutes ago, not even, that one of the reasons, David, you said, David, one of the reasons that they did not drive, that they drove away, not to be disrespectful, they had nothing to offer. You used that phrase. And then you also followed up with a comment that said they already knew that a sergeant was aware. What sergeant are you talking about? Are you referring to Sergeant Bancroft, Captain Wagner?
I don't know. I don't know who else was aware, but they were not the folks that you were there to see.
Okay. Were they the responding deputies or no?
Responding for what?
For the call, sir, I don't mean to laugh, for the call that we called 3 times and spoke with Operator 8156 who said, meet the responding deputies at Substation B to get your issue about wanting to obtain a report addressed. Were they the deputies that responded to that call?
They were not.
They were not?
No, they were not.
Okay. But here's where I just don't understand. As tax-paying citizens, are you telling me that it's the protocol or policy or practice of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office to drive off on citizens simply because they have nothing to offer? I don't get that. I really don't, sir.
Right. They had nothing to offer.
So they drive off.
To engage in a conversation with you about that matter last night. They had nothing to say or to offer that would help you.
Captain Wagner, listen. With all respect, okay? I don't know if I've ever met you personally. I don't have anything against you personally. I don't know you personally, I believe.
Good. Well, thank you.
Right. Absolutely. Here's the thing, okay? And not to sound cocky, so I'm going to preface it with, I don't mean it in a cocky way. You and I know you have a job to do, sir. For all I know, you're a great person. You're a great human being. But at the end of the day, when you throw the uniform on, I understand that you have a job to do. And we'll leave it at that. However, here's my thing. Let's cut to the chase and let's kind of knock the I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but let's kind of knock the BS away. And I'll tell you why. Your deputies clearly did not want to deal with an activist who has over 20 years experience confronting law enforcement officers and video recording their interactions. I respect more if someone, no pun intended, I don't want you to shoot at me, but someone that shoots from the hip and is blunt about it. I would respect that more. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to admit to that, but me and you both know why they didn't want to engage me. Perhaps they would have engaged Mr. Conklin alone, which, by the way, I don't want to draw any inference like they're picking on a weak person, and I'm over here some activist that knows everything I'm doing. It's not that. They literally, your department, and I'm not saying you personally, although I do got a question about you personally, sir. Your department basically committed a very questionable, very serious, and very disturbing, and it's not just David Vara, Davey V, whatever you want to call it, saying this. It's in the court of public opinion. And for a department which I would think like the RPD struggles and is so thirsty to gain the public trust and respect, it's not a good look for you guys. So the subsequent incident of them driving off on me, yes, an activist of 20 plus years, and Mr. Conklin, a very wealthy, very prosperous business owner, who knows his rights, who's not about money, but is going to fight this to the end, it just doesn't look good. Now, here's my question to you, and I do respect you calling me back. Here's my question to you. Were you or were you not at Henrietta House on Friday evening in what at least one employee described as a disturbing exchange where she felt, quote unquote, weirded out by you questioning, a line of questioning which even included asking her where she lived? And that's my first question. My second question is, at what point did you guys remove the video from Henrietta House?
So the issue that I called you back about was your complaint about the deputies driving off. So I completed my portion of that conversation, which is to tell you what I said about the deputies, okay? And so that part of the conversation is complete.
Right,
okay?
I appreciate your answer on that, absolutely.
Are we agreed?
Yeah, the second part is my question to you.
Okay, the second part of your question, and you kind of lost me in
I'm sorry.
In your monologue a little bit,
okay,
David, but here's the second part of your question is a police matter that is under investigation. It is a matter that's under investigation here.
So you confiscated a video.
Wait.
Okay.
Right. Am I answering your question or not?
I'm not sure. To be honest, I can't say that until you're done talking, and then I'll tell you if you address it or not.
Okay. Well, if you keep interrupting me, I won't be able to finish. The second question that you have relative to the incident at Henrietta House,
yes, sir,
and so on and so forth, that is a matter that's under investigation to which you are not a party. So if a person who is a party to that matter,
hold on for a minute, sir.
Ryan, let me finish.
Ryan, you can talk to him. I'm on a conference call with Ryan Conklin, so he's right here. He's the party. He's the one you guys unlawfully arrested. Here we go. I'm going to go outside and get a fresh breath of fresh air, sir. So you're right. I'm not directly a party. I'm the person that's putting your department on blast. That basically means exposing it, in case you misunderstand what blast means. It doesn't mean an explosion. It means I'm exposing how corrupt you guys are. You know who you're dealing with, and I know who I'm dealing with, and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. I will not be intimidated by your police tactics, and I know who you are, Captain Wagner, okay? So here's Ryan Conklin, who, guess what, is a party. Have a nice day, sir. Thank you. Here he goes.
Captain Wagner, this is Ryan Conklin. I was a party, so I would like to have an explanation to the matter, sir.
Okay. If you'd like to make a complaint, you can contact the Internal Affairs Division.
Sir, I have a question, though. You said if I was here that you'd be able to talk to me, sir.
Great. Well, here's what I have to say about that. If you have a complaint to lodge against the sheriff's office, you can call Internal Affairs. Would you like the telephone number?
Sir, I have a question for you. I don't have a complaint at this moment. I just have a question for you.
Okay. I'm not going to answer your questions.
Why is that, sir?
I will give you the phone number. Ryan, I'm going to tell you one last time. If you would like to contact Internal Affairs, I'll give you the telephone
number.
Please
do, sir.
Would you like the telephone number?
Yes, please.
Okay. 753
45. Okay, 45
19. 753 4519.
Okay, thank you, sir. Am I looking for a certain person when I call up there, or I can just
You just call Internal Affairs.
Okay.
We're not going to give up on this, sir, okay? Just know that.
Have a good day.
You too, sir.